I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Watkins. Here. Councilmember Earl. Here. Mayor Reinhardt.
Here.
Vice Mayor Johannes.
Here.
Councilmember McCown.
Present. Okay, public comments. I've got a list of people who've got signed up, so we'll start with Austin. Whichever one's Austin.
Good afternoon, my name is Austin Sandler. I'm a construction tech with the company out of Marsh. Just coming to speak a little bit on the Compton Street resurfacing project we have coming up. It'll be kind of like a road closure, a mill and fill with new curb, some new sidewalk areas between Ruggles and Madison Street. We'll also be doing a little bit of a drone video too for time lapse. Be uploading to our online Doc Express area, so that can be also viewed for citizens.
Thank you. Thank you. Candy Cox.
I'm Candy Cox. I'm president of the Brunson Polish Festival. And as you're aware, we just celebrated our 56th year. Lots of community support, and without the community support, we wouldn't be able to continue the festival. I'm also would like to talk about one of the premier attractions during Polish Festival, which is the truck pulls. And I understand that they may not be happening next year. So the Brunson truck pulls serve as a major fundraiser for Brunson School Athletics. They also support the festival. 100% of their proceeds support Brunson Community Schools, athletic equipment, and programs. It was started in 1992 by the Brunson FFA. And it's continuing now with the Brunson Biking Alliance. It's held every summer. People come from all over the Midwest. This year we had people attend from Buffalo, New York, Wisconsin. And I just would like to say that I would feel this should continue on. It's expanded over the years, and it's a great fundraiser. Athletes, community members support it, and it's all volunteer. So I would like it to continue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candy.
Tony.
Hi, Tony Myers, varsity head football coach here at Bronson. I grew up in Bronson and I graduated from Bronson. Bronson is near and dear to my heart. My great grandfather was actually a mayor at one point. I looked at the Bronson Creed. I've actually never read that. I'm here to kind of advocate for the truck pulls as well. The Viking Alliance gave me over $5,000. It helped with a ton of equipment that has made the football program much better than it has been in the past. And we're continuing on that process, but we also have the football players go and help put the truck pulls together, whether that be fencing, relieving rocks, which is a great community service for those young men to understand that it's vitally important that we care about our town. I look at that, I believe in Bronson, its possibilities, and I should do my part to make it a better place. I'm doing that right now. When I heard that the truck pulls were going to be possibly removed, I thought that was a huge mistake. I'm not saying that it necessarily needs to stay where it's at, but maybe we can figure out a way, putting our great minds together to maybe figure out a spot, or with the production that's going to be happening in the near future with those that own that property, they can start somewhere else, give some time to that area so that we can maybe find a different location before just shutting it down. I don't know the numbers particularly on the revenue that the truck pulls brings into the Polish Festival, but I can tell you this, if it goes away, the Polish Festival will dwindle and die. We've already noticed it happening due to some other things getting taken from it. That's a huge, huge moneymaker for local businesses, not just restaurants, but also people coming into the town and seeing what Bronson is about. And I think that's why I believe in supporting local enterprises. The truck pulls does just that. So I think it ties into our creed of the Bronson Creed that I just honestly just personally just read. And as I was reading that, I'm looking at that and going, well, that's vitally important to the community. Yes, it's great for the fact that they can fundraise and give money back to the sports, which is also very beneficial. But I'm looking at it more as, and I am a coach, so it is beneficial. It's great. They give me a lot of money so I can buy a lot of cool stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, the revenue that it brings to the town, I didn't know that many people came from those areas. That's pretty cool. And for them to come in here and see that is vitally important. And as we grow and expand with these new ventures that we're doing, which is exciting for Brunson, it's very awesome. I think that it would be beneficial to keep so that those people that do move here eventually in the coming years, in the next decade, to see what we have, because I think it is one of the best ran truck pulls around. So, thank you for that.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Lee?
I kind of have to say the same thing as what they do and everything. I was with the poll from the beginning all the way through. It has, provided for this community, other communities. I mean, even put a barn at 4-H fair, the steer barn, I believe, right? There. So anyway, it's been a great community builder and stuff like that. I guess what we're kind of asking the council is keep us in mind, is there city property? If we have to move it, can we use that city property? I mean, there's a lot of agricultural ground out there. I mean, is it something, we pay what they pay in land rent if we have to move it? And it's no small task of moving it, but there is an investment down there. There's investment to the community, which pays back to the community. Yeah, it's not maybe cash revenue, but personal revenue to the community itself has been, I think, great over the years. I mean, you could put hundreds of thousands of dollars tag to what this poll has done for the community. And I really need you to consider how you could help us where to put this poll so we can continue on. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
And Kayla, is that right? Okay.
Hi, Kayla Shook. So I'm gonna just short tail on the end of what they said. Again, I'm not a Bronson native, so this better tell you how important the poll is that I didn't graduate from here, but I think it's a great opportunity. I don't have kids either. So, but it's a really fun event. It does bring a lot of people to our community. It is an excellent fundraiser. It's really great to see the student involvement when it comes time to fix the bleachers, put the fencing up, run the concession, get the 50-50 going, all those little things that add up. The coach involvement is excellent. It's extraordinary. And so it's great to feel like we're providing student athletes with the equipment that they need, the travel expenses, uniforms, upgraded safety equipment. It's just something that we're happy to do, and we'd love to be able to continue to do it. Probably the last 7 years, the truck pool has brought in about $100,000, so that would be a lot of funds to be hard to replace, especially when we're building a really nice facility for the school is. And to be able to, if there's any gaps in equipment that we need, we'd be happy to help with that. We want to be here for our community. We want to support our youth.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Rick, do you have anything to say?
Just a couple of updates.
Hold on. Not to interrupt you, but can I speak on that? We're on that same topic.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I do think, it was, I don't know, a couple months ago, I think Pat gave me a call. I guess I wasn't aware that we were looking to move this. I knew that there was talk about something going in out there. So again, I think we do need to find a place for that. Speaking as a former coach that has worked that event and benefited from what they've given back, I think we do need to find a spot for that.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree that we need to help find a spot. I understand why that spot is not gonna be available if we're putting up a dozen new homes that are gonna be expensive homes. They aren't gonna want that in their backyard. I get it. But, I think if everybody puts their minds together, we can come up with a spot that's gonna work. And yeah, you guys did a lot of work last year to move it to that spot because that, where you previously been got sold. But, I think we probably are gonna wanna have it moved for the reason I spoke. But I think there's property around here that we'll be able to work something out with and get it done. I'm in favor of doing it. It's just, we gotta figure out what.
I don't see a loss.
Yeah, I don't think any of us want
Hey,
to see it
you've
lost.
got a lot of room in your backyard.
There you go, all the field, that belongs to the city back there. Don't.
Okay, we gotta stay on task. We're
No,
cutting into Rick's time.
Just a couple of updates. It's started into our budget cycle for 2027. We've talked about that already. We've got department head meetings, right, Fred? And looking at 2027. So that's just as exciting as it gets, studying over budgets. We are trying to move forward with the evidence building. Maybe Fred can touch on that a little bit. We've talked about that a lot. So I'm trying to get that to move forward and get started. A construction company or committee has been meeting to get that off the ground. So other than that, the state line remonumentation hasn't moved forward yet, but Avonmarsh is the company that agreed or is contracted. And it's going to do the survey for Branch County along the Indiana state line. So just a couple updates. I would say, I think we've moved that track
This is the third.
three times, so can be done. What a job though. Since we didn't used to have guardrails, we didn't used to have all the bleacher structure. We had a rope and it was not safe. So let's find a place that can be permanent and we can get it set up and get it so it doesn't have to be moved again. So that's all I got.
Great, thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
That was very short.
Yeah.
Fred, did you have something to add?
I'll say, when he said, we are breaking ground on the patrol garage next week. We'll be done by the end of November, so about $1 million project, once we get everything in it that we need, so. That's going, obviously, Director of Public Safety passed away in Coldwater, so we're gonna be covering Coldwater starting tonight until Wednesday morning. We helping them with that so they have visitation today and the funeral's tomorrow, so. We doing that. We've been busy, guys been busy up there and the jail as well. So we're still housing with home inmates. Those are gonna end probably spring of next year. Their jail will be ready, so we're gonna lose that revenue, but other than that, we're just pushing on.
Thank you.
Thank you for all we've been through, the shortest we've been. And we've had officers here all the time. See them patrolling, sit in front of Larry's place.
And have to.
Oh, I mean, it's been a real blessing. It's been my help.
Yes.
Guys, thank you so much.
I just want to touch on the truck bolt real quick too. I definitely don't disagree that we don't want to see that lost. Our number one goal is to keep our town growing, and this was an opportunity that we had this engineer, I think before we let him take the land, right, or just the land. So we knew from the start that this could happen a lot quicker than we thought, unfortunately, but so we definitely support it. I don't know if you guys have a committee that you're putting together or how you're doing it, but we definitely will support you in this endeavor and see what we can do.
What's the timeline is? When does it have to be moved? Is the property sold? Is the houses, when they started, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, probably late this fall, maybe into winter, spring construction.
That it is moving forward
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, they've gone through the first phase of the planning commission. They've got preliminary site approval. They'll have to get their official site of plan approval. Probably next month or two, we'll have that meeting, and then they're also working on their TIP plan for how they're gonna pay for the infrastructure. It'll be paid back through TIF capture. So we'll have that to approve in September. That'll probably be before council at the September meeting.
is knowing that information, is it something that your group can come up with? I mean, take a look at some of the plots available to see if there's an ideal spot. We can do the same thing. And I mean, if it's coming up that quickly, we need to probably start talking about it at least at next month's meeting to start having those discussions.
Right, if we can at least have a lay down area to move this stuff to, if they get started is, you know, I mean, we can move fairly quick if we have a spot to put it. You know, I mean, if they're not using the field's harvested or anything, we go out on the headland and put the stuff at that point. I mean, ideally, somewhere where we didn't have to haul it down the road or anything.
Right.
You know, what's the other end of that field down by the high school, that type of stuff, you know, that way we're moving way away and not into the plan of what's gonna be, go to housing. I mean, it's, housing's a great idea.
Parking's our biggest problem.
Right.
Track won't take up more room, parking 1,000 cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know. I mean, I've got a couple ideas, suggestions that we can talk about.
Okay, that'd be, and maybe we need a sidebar for a different meeting before the next meeting that where us, maybe some of the council or Brandon, or whatever, we get together and say, hey, let's brainstorm this. And what's the best option for everybody? You know, I mean, the community's always moved it. It's been $0 to move it, but it's out of pocket dollars. I mean, sweat equity's been heavy and hard down there for years. You know, we can't thank those people enough.
Right. If we have more than 3 of us, can we have a quote-unquote work group, or is that considered a forum? You can't do that.
If you'd have 3 or more, yeah. So it'd have to be an open meeting. Okay. I'd be willing. But, I'm happy to meet with whoever to talk about different things.
So we could possibly put together a meeting before September, a special meeting to discuss this type of thing, or?
I wouldn't think the whole council would get together for that, but we can, if there's 1 or 2 from the council that want to be in on that meeting, you can do that.
Okay.
Have an informal meeting. Go from there.
Yeah, I think just start gathering some ideas from your side. We do the same thing on ours. We'll come to a solution on this.
All right,
I believe we can.
Should we have somebody from the school involved?
I was just getting ready to say that it might be smart to contact the school and get them involved too. They might have ideas that we don't think of or space available that they want to use too, so.
Well, and they benefit a lot from
Yeah, probably more than we
it,
do.
and not,
can't quite put it on the ground if you're heading that way. If you don't.
the community
Right.
benefits from it immensely,
Yeah.
there's no doubt.
Yeah.
But the school may have property, and with them donating to a lot of the school sports,
I think you have to be very careful with that being on school property.
Yeah.
Because of,
Some of the activities.
yes.
Yeah, the activities.
Then that raises another issue for the city is the liability that we take on
Right.
by
Yes.
state.
But it might be, if there's area near the school, the parking might be
Yes.
used or something, I don't know.
That's our.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I think we can come to a solution. We just have to
Alright.
talk about it.
to get heads together. All right, well, let's keep moving. Thank you guys for all coming tonight. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
I gotta go practice.
Yep, yeah, if anyone needs to leave, feel free. Consent agenda. Practice? Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion, we consent agenda is presented.
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, new business. USDA Public Information Hearing Wastewater Treatment Plant Project. We have to go into.
I'll introduce it and then I'll turn it over to Jared and then we can have public comment.
Okay,
It doesn't have to be a formal hearing.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so as part of the city's community project funding award, the city must complete and submit a funding application to the USDA Rural Development. One of the application requirements is holding a public information meeting to present the proposed project and provide an opportunity for the public to comment. Jared, I'm not gonna attempt to say your last name. I'll let you. Thank you. From Warren Brusick is here to provide an overview of the project and proposed improvements and USDA rural development funding application process. We have a slideshow that he's gonna go through and I'll turn it over to Jared. If you want to stand over by the TV or. Sure.
It fits your voice up so well that way, you can't miss it.
Oh, perfect. So here's a aerial image of the treatment plant. For those of you who don't know, it's located on Mill Street. Tucked back right on the edge of the city limits. The average flow per day is about 500,000 gallons or 500,000 gallons per day, and up to a peak of 1 million gallon per day. I know the gentleman, Adam March, just left, but you guys recently completed that collection system lining project, which has reduced this peak. A couple of years ago, it was at 1.7, and now the highest that I think we've seen in the last year is around 0.8. So close to that one, which was the original design. Originally constructed in 1957. The last time it was majorly upgraded was in 1993. So it's been 33 years, hence why we're looking at some major projects coming down the line here. Most assets in the wastewater plant are mechanical in nature or controls electrical. Those have useful lives of 15 to 30 years. Concrete tanks, those can last 60, 80, sometimes 100 years, depending on the maintenance and what's included. But a lot of the assets are nearing the end of their useful life or even nearing failure or have failed and are continually being reactively maintained, which is not ideal for such a critical piece of infrastructure such as your wastewater plant. I gotta say, I commend Brandon and Patrick and Jerry over in the utilities department for being proactive about securing these grants. And you guys have done an amazing job getting $2.6 million in grant funding to take care of some of these needed items. So the ferric chloride chemical system, some of the building roofs are leaking, the ultraviolet disinfection system, which is the final step in the process to make sure there's no fecals or pathogens going out into the environment. Some of the spaces, the ventilation doesn't even work, and that really needs to be addressed. Some of the individual pumping systems, and then a lack of monitoring and controls. And then finally, the influence screening pumps and the grit removal system, those are all what we call the headworks right at the beginning of the plant. And those kind of take out large debris and grit, which would be big sand and dirt that get in the system. So all of those really need to be addressed and or replaced in the next, I would say, 5 years at most. So what we've done up to this point, they had previously secured a $50,000 grant for what we are doing right now as Moore and Brugink, the preliminary engineering report. And that is nearing the end, hence why we're having this presentation. And that is part of a requirement of the nature of the grants that you've secured for these projects. We have to complete this PER and submit an application through USDA. And as part of that, as Brandon mentioned, is this public meeting. So in total, we have nearly $2.6 million in grant funding. And our approach for this project was let's prioritize and get done what we can under that amount. And then we can set aside the other items for a future phase, which we can keep looking for grant money. I know there's more and more coming out every year in different categories and see how we can take advantage of that. Or we could pursue a low interest loan. But for the focus of this presentation and this phase, this next project, we're going to do our best to keep it under that 2.6 million and see what we can get done. So our current scope to stay under that threshold is taking care of the return activated sludge pumps, the ultraviolet disinfection system, that ferric chloride chemical system, and then the ventilation upgrades. And finally, the building roof, either repairing all of the leaking spots or just a full replacement. So here's just, I'm gonna go through each of those 5 categories. This is the ferric chloride system. This is an outdoor storage tank, which has had its share of problems and is at risk of leaking and just completely failing, for lack of a better term. So our plan is to remove that or abandon that, relocate a new tank inside this building, which is right next to that outdoor tank. This is the current dosing pump situation for the ferric chloride, and we'd be replacing those as well and removing some of this old chemical tankage that is no longer used or needed at the plant. The building roof leaks in up to 10 places. I started losing track as Jerry took me through the facility. We got on the roof. He's like, yeah, here, we got a bucket under here and here. So this roof is 33 years old, and there's been a lot of repairs and patchwork of previous penetrations that are now acting as skylights and replacement of some ventilation equipment in the past, like for the office space. So there's just a lot of different penetrations that have leaked over time. So we're in the process of getting a quote for that, which I should have by tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. The guys from Apex were helping us out with putting some numbers to that and trying to do it in the most cost conscious way possible, because that was one area where our architect was carrying a higher number than we probably needed. So that's yet to be finalized, at least in our cost estimate. The UV system, this is a relatively straightforward portion of the project, but it is expensive because of the equipment itself. It's outdated. It's an old model of technology that is no longer supported with new lamp replacements. You can't go buy their bulbs anymore. You have to buy them a secondary market, often overseas, and you can't get them in time as you need them as they're failing. So we replaced this in kind, new control system, replace this fiberglass grating, which has been, the sun has not treated it very well. It's not in good shape, and it becomes very brittle when it's exposed to that much ultraviolet light, funny enough, from the sun, even though it's over a UV channel. So we're going to replace that with aluminum and then a new shelter to cover the UV channel as well. And then for the ventilation upgrades, these are the headworks area and the chemical rooms. This headworks area, as you can imagine, is one of the first areas in the plant, so it's quite potent in terms of smell, quite frankly. And with that, there's a lot of corrosive gases in nature, and it's really important to ventilate this space. So we feel that this is a very high priority project. And then with that, the laboratory needs to have some climate control. Right now it has no AC, and just for the processes they're doing in there, that's not very conducive to it. We need to address the fume hood as well, make sure that's getting the proper exhaust rate for what code requires. And then there's a small ventilation fan, exhaust fan in the process building as well to replace. These are the 3 pumps in the process building basement that recycle the return activated sludge, which is basically just treated biomass, old poop, if you will. That settles out in the final clarifiers, and we have to refeed that into the oxidation tanks to encourage the biology to do its job. So these pumps are nearing failure. The flow control for wasting the small amount of sludge every day that eventually gets disposed of, that is not working, and it's done manually right now. So we replace those 3 flow meters and a control valve in addition to these pumps and all of the piping. And then what I'm sure a lot of you care the most about is the cost and obviously the impact to the city in general. Like I said, we want to do as much as we can to keep this number, to keep the project under this number, which is the total grant amount. I highlighted some of these in red, and I know I probably should have chosen a different color because red usually means bad, but these 2 numbers we're still finalizing, so they may change, and we've kind of moved the monitoring controls portion to the next page, which I'll touch on at the end. We're still figuring these out and waiting for that roof quote. Right now, the project estimate in total, including engineering, contingency, the contractor markup, basically your all-in number is around 2.69, 2.7. So that is in excess of 130,000. And what we're tentatively planning on right now is to proceed with the application with these 5 pieces of the project and the final dollar amount to be determined, and then any additional, and I'm going to work with Brandon and Patrick on this, to be allocated from the city cash reserves rather than taking out another loan. So I think you're about to pay off that 1993 loan, if I remember right. 5 more years. Yeah. So I put this in here. The 10% contingency is 212,000 off this number. So we never like to assume we're not going to use any of that, because if you ever built a house, you use that to some extent. This project is relatively straightforward in that we know the scope. Nothing's really underground. It's all visible. We can get some pretty decent numbers on bid day when that time comes. So we're hoping not to need to use a lot of this, if any, but I did want to mention that right now that's our plan, just to avoid going into debt for this project because there's so much grant funding around. And unfortunately, it's just the climate in our industry right now. Prices are going up, as a lot of prices are. The current schedule would be to finish up this application and report in the next month. I believe we have to be done with the $50,000 grant by the 15th of September. And then we would hope to roll into a design right after that, and then bid it out next spring, start construction after that, and then just a conservative timeline would be the end of construction season in 2028 to have that complete. So with that, I have this question slide where we can open it up to comment. I also have some brief slides just highlighting some things that may be happening in the future, but we can pause now and open it up.
Can you talk a little bit about why we're moving SCADA to new space?
Yeah, so I'll just pull up this is future phase. The SCADA portion of the project with all the controls and what we feel is the right solution, including, all the contractor markup, contingency, all of these numbers include engineering as well. That was about $570,000. So adding that to the 2.7 obviously puts us well over that 2.6 grant amount. And we feel that the SCADA portion itself is the lowest priority of the other 5. They're all very high priority items because right now they only have minimal alarms that get called out. So having a SCADA system, which stands for supervisory control or data acquisition, that allows the operator, even if they're not on site, to get a call, to know what's going on, maybe even be able to look at a tablet and show them exactly like what flow rates are, what levels are in the wet wells and the tanks, make sure they're not overflowing, rather than only a limited amount of call out data points where they might not get a call if some piece of equipment fails right now. But given the nature of the other components that we included, we did feel like that would be the one to select to push back to the next phase. So that was originally hoping to be in that 2.6. And who knows? I mean, I don't want to be optimistic about bid numbers coming in under the estimate, but we won't truly know until bid day. And this application, the dollar amount that you put on that application, you're kind of held to, and you can't borrow anything above that. So we're going to just try to position it where we're going to use a small amount of city funds potentially to cover anything over, or worst case scenario, remove something from the scope further. But is there anything else before I kind of highlight the next phase? No. Just real quickly, I can just leave it on this slide. The mechanical screen, influent pumps, which are right after the screen, it comes in via gravity real low, goes through the screen, and then it gets pumped up into the grit removal system. All 3 of those have their string of issues. There currently isn't a mechanical screen. There is a bar rack, but it's not even being used because the gate's stuck shut. So with that, they have to do a lot of maintenance on the sewage pumps because none of the rags get removed. And then the grit removal system isn't functioning that well, which causes some buildup in the oxidation ditch. And from the engineering side, these are 3 very important things. We are able to push them into a future phase if they're okay with doing the maintenance on the pumps. There's already been a good amount of grit buildup in the oxidation ditch, which will need to be removed at some point as well. So with that, it's kind of the mindset of let's just keep operating as we have been. We're able to get by. It's not ideal. It's not reliable, but it's what we have. So this future project right now, we're projecting at around $3.2 million. If you did borrow all of that money on a low interest loan through the state revolving fund, 1.5%, I'm not entirely sure what its latest quarter is at. Just wanted to show the impact of that. That'd be a monthly loan payment of about $11,000 for your just over 1,000 residential equivalent units, which is basically a single family home. That would have an impact about $11 per month per home. I know that's a very scary topic to talk about at public settings. I just wanted to be proactive about getting this future phase in front of everyone because I work with a lot of communities and raising rates is a very big, it's a sensitive topic. I mean, when anything goes up, when our Netflix account goes up, it's just, it doesn't feel fair. So I just want to make people aware of what the background is and what the infrastructure looks like at the plant. I don't know if you've had a chance to tour, but I would suggest that there's a lot of components there and not a lot of the public really realizes that. And it's expensive. Just frankly, it's just an expensive piece of infrastructure. So with that, I mean, tentative schedule, but not until the end of next year when we start those plans. Just go back to this slide. My email address and phone number are up there. I can also leave some of my business cards here and just feel free to call with any questions.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Good information.
Yeah. Okay, is there any public comment regarding what you talked about?
We really need some grants to cover.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, definitely for phase two, I agree. But I mean, if you're really looking at it, it's $130,000 is what we're, could be up against for phase one. That's a drop in the bucket compared to what it could have been.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, getting the money from Walmart, almost 2 million, and then Jennifer Ward's coming up with 660,000. That was a huge shot. in
Yeah,
the arm.
absolutely.
And now we're getting a big shot in the arm for a water project, with 2 million. These guys are doing real good at finding this. They just need to, Jared, we need to squeeze on you, to find his money.
I know, it's part of our job. We meet with the regulators every year to see what funding can be out there and being creative about how we frame the project to make sure we fit into those funding categories.
We've had to raise the rates higher than we wanted to already, but yeah, we still have to move forward. So.
So we have to keep flushing. You're not the only community with the problem, and you're being very proactive with getting this grant.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, resolution 26-8-20, complete streets policy grant.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. The city has prepared a complete streets policy for consideration. Adoption of the policy demonstrates the city's commitment to planning, designing, constructing, and maintaining transportation facilities that safely accommodate all users, including pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists, and individuals of all ages and abilities. The policy is intended to serve as a guide for future transportation planning and infrastructure projects by encouraging the consideration of safety, accessibility, and connectivity improvements wherever practical and appropriate. Adoption of the policy will strengthen the city's MDOT Transportation Alternatives Program grant application by demonstrating the city's commitment to complete street principles. Questions on that? Adopting it doesn't lock us into doing anything. Just helps for planning in the future and remembering to take all of those things into consideration with any kind of project.
Basically a proactive move.
And the possibility of possibly some more grants because we are being proactive.
You could say that, yeah, possibly.
Any more questions or comments on that? Nope. Have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt resolution 26-8-20.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, resolution 26-8-21, sidewalk repairs, Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. Council had previously approved the sidewalk repair resolution in June. However, section 94.38 of the city code requires that the notices of affected property owners be issued within 5 days of the resolution's adoption. Because that time frame has passed, staff is requesting approval of a new resolution to satisfy the ordinance requirements. In accordance with section 93.37, the resolution authorizes the city manager's office to identify hazardous sidewalk sections and notify responsible property owners to make those necessary repairs. So I recommend approval so that staff may proceed with this year's sidewalk inspection program and issue the required notices. When we did our inspections, we were mostly looking for trip hazards, especially those that have like a 2-inch gap or more, as stated in our ordinance. So
Did they inspect the entire city or just a portion or?
we did the whole city. But going forward, I think it'd be good if we did half the community one year, half next year. Just keep it going, ongoing cycle. As recommended by our attorney.
Make a resolution, pass 26-8-21 sidewalk repairs.
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? All right. Approved lead service line inventory purchase, Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. As Larry mentioned, we got $2.5 million for lead service line replacements. But this would be to purchase inventory for our staff to be able to continue the replacements that we're doing. So staff received 2 quotes for the required inventory. The lowest quote was from Ferguson Waterworks in the amount of $16,283.98, while Blue Water Solutions submitted a quote of $23,624.26. So staff's recommending purchase of the materials from Ferguson Waterworks to ensure the city has adequate supply of inventory on hand to complete those. To be able to complete the ones that we're working on in-house, mostly the partial replacements. I think we're up to about 22, 23 completed this year already, which is a huge improvement from previous years. So the fact that our staff's getting very good at doing this and getting very quick at it is huge. And the 200 that we'll be able to do with the grant is really gonna make up for those years where weren't able to meet the 5% per year requirement.
What's this 16,000? You just mentioned that the 2.5 million is for roughly 200, right? So the
Yeah.
16,000 is for roughly how many at?
It's probably to do around 20 to 25 homes.
So this will get us through the
A
rest of this
year.
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Have we used Ferguson Waterworks before too? Is that who we used?
Yeah. We used Ferguson for work at our wells and different pumps, I think, at the wastewater treatment plant as well. They're a pretty big water sewer manufacturer.
Any more questions?
Motion? Make a motion to approve lead service line inventory.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Okay, Grant Street sidewalk extension, Brandon.
Mayor, thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. Previously discussed by council, project for Compton Street. There was a question if we could include Grant Street as well. The proposed improvement would extend the existing sidewalk on Grant Street from Madison Street to Greenwell Park. Then would continue through the park to meet up with the new sidewalk we'll be putting in on Roosevelt. So creating sort of a walking loop there. This scored very high when we did our last Parks and Rec master plan, is to have sidewalk and trails through our parks and walkways. So this meets that goal as well. So we did get a rough estimate, $61,639 is what they're estimating for that. In your packet is a map of the proposed sidewalk addition. Patrick, what was that engineering? Do you remember the engineering from Happy Marsh with the cost? About 6,000.
Yeah, just under 7, I believe.
Yeah. It's a,
It does.
yeah. So that does include engineering as well.
So this is just the Grant Street portion, the portion that's black that we're seeing here.
Yes.
And going up to the restroom there too.
Yeah, I see that, but did you say there was already one along Roosevelt Street right there, that it's just not shown on?
Yes, it's not shown on this map, but we've approved that already
Yeah.
to do Roosevelt.
Okay.
So I have a question. Is there a way that we can connect to the pavilions that we already have to make it accessible for handicapped people to get to the bathroom easily?
That's something we can look at.
I
Yeah.
think if we're going that far, we might as well make it accessible too.
Yeah, to have a shoot off of the sidewalk to
Yeah,
each of the pavilions,
it's
yeah.
not gonna be that much more to do that.
Right,
That's,
exactly.
it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, we'll try to work that in as well.
Good idea.
And continuing it on a future project, going from Park to, I guess, Jackson Street. We'll look at that, maybe as a potential complete street, or Safe Routes to School grant application.
Now, currently, there is a sidewalk on the north side of Grant, correct?
South side.
No, south side.
The south side only, there's nothing on the north side.
Nothing.
All right.
Except there is a little bit, isn't there, right here? By
On
us?
on West Grant, there is, but
Not
on the east,
on the east at all, okay.
Okay.
between
I
Madison.
couldn't remember if there was something across the school or not.
No,
There isn't anything that was down that way.
Just
It just runs along the tennis courts on
Yeah.
the south side, there's nothing on the north side, so.
any more questions on that? There's nothing to approve there, that was just discussion, right?
We'll need approval for this.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I need a motion to approve the Grant Street sidewalk extension.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, approve the BS&A integrated payments contract, Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. Since first offering credit card payments back in 2021, it's been very popular for our residents. Since that time, we've used Point to Pay LLC for processing those payments through BS&A. However, since that time, BS&A has created its own payment processing platform that's more integrated with their software to provide easier reconciliations on the back end for our staff. Our current contract with Point and Pay expires at the end of October, and we would like to transition to BS&A payments at that time. Processing costs will be slightly higher on average, mostly on utility bills, since they have an additional per transaction charge on top of their flat percentage charge. But there will be savings for those. A lot of people that pay tax payments would see a savings due to having a lower fee for tax payments. That helps make up.
So there's no percentage, it's just a per transaction fee on the tax side.
There's both. So on utility bills, it's 2.95%, and then they have a 50 cent per transaction fee that they add on to that. So then tax is 2.8% along with a 50 cent transaction fee. That also applies to miscellaneous payments that we may take at the counter. Point and pay is just a flat 3%. E-checks would be a little bit different. Anything under 1,000 would be $1.50 per transaction. Between 1,000 and 5,000 would be $3, and anything over $5,000 would be $6 per transaction. Right now, point and pay is $3 if it's less than 10,000. If it's over 10,000, it's a $10 fee. So there would be some cost savings there. But BSNA makes it easier as well to enroll in auto pay, and they can also offer a pay by text method. There's no monthly annual fees associated with BSNA. Well, Point and Pay charges us $50 a month for their service. There'll be some one-time charges for point of sale terminals. We'll probably have 2, so it'll be about $665. We'll make up that savings by not paying the monthly fees. And the biggest thing of all is helping our staff reduce time spent trying to reconcile between payments that come in through BSNA from Point and Pay.
And that step is Jacob, right, that will be dealing with most of this?
Yes.
So we already know we would like to.
Whatever the easiest for you. Yeah. Whatever works for you.
Except if it costs money.
As long as it's helping out.
Okay, any more questions with that? We have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the SMA.
Those in favor? Opposed? Okay. City staff comments. Staff, you've been patient. Sure, thank you. We've got a fire academy coming up, it's starting in October. We do that every other year. And we have 5 candidates that are going into that. Once they get certified and everything, we're still fully staffed, so that's great news. Working on a couple different grants. The Michigan Treasury Grant is now open again. So that you can ask for up to $50,000 per governmental entity that you provide services to. For us, that's $350,000, so we'll be putting in the full amount. There'll be turnout gear, helmets, gloves, boots, extrication equipment, thermal imaging cameras, all of that equipment does qualify. So we're gonna, we'll be asking for pretty much the full amount. You just found out today you have to put in an application per each governmental entity, but each of the governmental entities can basically give me permission to do that for them. So got that from the city, so we'll move forward with that. The other grant we're working on is with Consumers Energy Foundation for a brush truck to help mitigate some of the exposure caused by the solar project in Bethel Township. And we'll be putting that in here shortly, and we'll see where that lands as well. But other than that, things are good at the department. Call volume's up a little bit. We're on track for about 500 calls for this year. Historically, for the last few years, we've been running about 420. And again, about 67% of those are medical policies. That's what I have to report.
Like you said, you got 5 going through the academy, and now are you understaffed by 5 right now?
No.
That puts you over.
No,
that
we're,
just keeps you fully staffed.
yeah, that'll just keep us fully staffed as far as certified firefighters. Okay. Yeah, we're not, we kind of count that as part of our staff. We try to keep our roster right around 25, and I think we're at 26 right now.
Oh,
Express our condolences to the Coldwater Police and Fire Department for the loss of Director Shine. I've known Joe since about 1999 when I came here to Bronson, so that's a pretty big loss for the city and the department. School's starting up a little over a week. Kids are gonna be around the streets. I'm sure people slow down. Construction's gonna cause a little bit of hassle with the traffic, but it's being mitigated, so we don't have a lot of concern. But some of the stuff will be completed by the time school starts, so Other than that, still trying to find staff. Sam, the new officer, we're hoping to have on his own by the end of the month. So hopefully we can get him out there and get him some more experience, but, still continue to look for staff, so. Other than that, I really don't have anything for anybody. Polish days were good. So it was busy, but, we appreciate the help of the sheriff's department, state police to cover the parade route, so. It takes me a minimum of at least 10 people to do that, and I only have like 3 on my staff, so. We had to reach out and beg them please, but sheriff, they sent over a bunch of reserves, and, state police sent over 2 different cars, so we had enough to handle everything, so it seemed like everything went well. No catastrophes, no accidents, so everything seemed to go pretty good. Complaint wise, we didn't have a lot generate from the festival themselves, which is always nice. I know in past years, we've been busy for the whole weekend, but without the beer tent, I think a lot of that's calmed down. So that was 90%. That's all I have.
Thank you. A city manager comments, right?
Thank you, Mayor Reinhardt. Just want to give you an update on MERS employee contributions. You'll recall that last year we put a temporary cap on the employee contribution for the MERS pension plan. That cap went until the end of June. Starting July 1st, the employee rate should be 16.02% for non-police and 15.375% for police employees. Suggesting that we continue operating on the 14% cap that we had last year for the time being. I'm hoping to have some numbers for you at the next council meeting to discuss employee cap options moving forward. This has been a barrier already for hiring police officers, the 14%. It will make it difficult to attract and retain employees. Also, due to staff shortages in 2025 for the police department, the employee contribution is set to go to 28.5% July 1st, 2027. So, all other employees would go to 16.79%. So I'll be have been working with MERS. Hopefully they can get me some more numbers. That's something that'll work for the city and our employees. More to come from that. I just want to make sure that this is okay with continuing the 14% for now. Absolutely. Okay, and then update on the Kiwanis Park restrooms. Builders Unlimited completed their work on the Kiwanis restroom renovation project on Friday. The improvements have greatly enhanced the appearance and functionality of the facility. There's an anti-slip floor that will be useful for durability and safety. The restrooms also provide a modern and clean, welcoming facility for our residents and visitors using Kiwanis Park, which has gone up exponentially since we put in the new playground system, and the ball fields have been greatly enhanced, as well as the new basketball hoops. Our crew will finish installing the new sinks and accessories. Hopefully this weekend we'll be able to have those open.
We've got good camera systems up there.
We just put it in.
Yep.
So it covers everything.
Yep, there are cameras mounted onto that building. For that reason.
There's some on the pavilion too, right?
Yes. So we got the ball field covered, basketball hoops, playground, and restroom. The city was awarded a $17,890 community energy management grant through Eagle to make improvements to the city's well houses. We have a match of just over $1,000 towards that. That will be provided with in-kind services provided by our workers. It includes the purchase and installation of new high efficiency furnaces, LP tanks, exterior doors, and building insulation, which will greatly improve energy efficiency and help protect critical water system equipment, improving operational reliability, reducing maintenance costs, as well as extending the life of facilities. Work has started on the Corey Street lift station. Last Wednesday, they started the dewatering process. Today, they've done some pavement removal and brought in some of the cans, pre-cast cans that they'll be using for the lift station, wet wells, dry well. There's a detour map that has been published, and it's on the city's Facebook page and website. So the contractor is still anticipating reopening Wayne Street traffic prior to August 24, which is the first day of school. So we're hoping that will be completed prior to that first busy day of school. Update on the road diet conversation. MDOT's informed the city that it plans to complete a chip and seal project on US 12 in Bronson in 2027. Because the roadway meets the criteria for a road diet, MDOT's approached the city about incorporating a lane reconfiguration as part of that project through restriping. Go from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, creating a buffer between on-street parking and travel lanes to improve safety. MDOT plans to host a public open house in September to present the proposal, answer questions, gather public input. If council wishes to proceed, MDOT need formal council approval prior to its November 26th project submission deadline. This update is to make council aware of the upcoming public engagement process. So this will be coming back at a future meeting following the open house. Also want to express my condolences to the city of Coldwater and Joe Scheid's family. That's all I have. Thank you, Brent.
Oh, council comments. Matt?
No, I appreciate the presentation on the wastewater treatment plant. I've seen some of that. Everything I'll get that. It's making it worthwhile, some of the stuff that, so they can see. Also appreciative of the Bike Alliance coming in, speaking on the truck boy. I know that is a big deal. It's hard for some of the folks. I know it's not ideal to move it, but I think in our best interest to find a place and find a permanent home for it to the best of our ability, so we're not changing that again. Because it does benefit a lot of the athletes, as I said before, as a former coach, and you know, the budgets just aren't there, and you can't put a lot of that onus and responsibility on parents to come up with some of that stuff. So being able to get that extra funding is greatly appreciated. So I think that's bringing that to our attention.
I appreciate the presentation, and I think if people look into that, they see how much money Brandon and Patrick have truly saved them. Because if they didn't get those grant dollars, we'd have already spent that $11 and be headed for the next $11. So there's a lot of dollars that have been saved out of people's pockets with those grant dollars, and good job, guys, that's huge. And then on top of that, you know, we talked a couple years back about the water and, you know, getting the $2 million grant for the water services. Again, that's a huge savings to the taxpayers or the people that live in Bronson that aren't seeing that on their water bills. So again, great job. And yes, it was very heartbreaking to hear about Joe. I spent a lot of time with him on different committees and different things working at the hospital. And that was a true surprise. Again, I always want to thank City Council for all they do for the city. Rick, thank you for the county and what you do for us. That's all I got.
Larry?
Well, the Polish Festival going off, I thought it went off very well. I know our DPW put a lot of effort into it. They made our town look as good as they could make it look. With all the painting they've done, cleaning, it was much appreciated. For the police department, You guys pulled it off,
Not sure how.
but you keep pulling it off. But it does help having the county sheriff.
We have to have the assistants. That's what it
I
comes down to.
mean, they're here all at night. When, if they weren't here, this place would run rampant. But between those in the state, they have helped out and it's been noticed. We thank them. And I can't wait for, Sam to get on his own and
Me too.
I know it's gonna be quite a shock for the city to actually have police on so that they go speeding through town, so.
Well, the time change, I think is gonna really change things.
And they're gonna find out,
They're gonna see people when they don't normally see people.
they're gonna find out there's stop signs in this town instead of rolling around the
Tickets
corner.
are expensive.
Yeah, on Coar Police and Fire, that's very tragic. They lost him. He's a good man. Brandon, on the well house grant, is there a reason they're going with LP gas for instance? We have a gas line that runs right down through there.
Well, I don't think there is.
Oh, there is? Oh,
No, the 911 tower is actually.
that way,
they use
the other
LP.
way, the gas goes east and west, and it's in between them. And that's a main line, so I'm, yeah,
Yeah, no, 911's using LP as well. But yeah, this will be a much higher efficiency furnace than what we're doing now.
thank you. And also, yeah, we got school starting, and that's gonna mean a lot more traffic, that's gonna make more work for you. But, hopefully, they won't make Quarry Street a racetrack with a cell phone in the ear and going like that. So, with all that, I'd like to say that staff has done a wonderful job, every last one of them. Whether it's wastewater, DPW, the office, police, fire, everybody's putting 110% in, and it's appreciated.
Thank you, Larry. Rich?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to, they said everything that needs to be said. It's created Patrick, it's been great job. I would say that, Linnell and the group put in a lot of hours and paid over $2,000 for 2 days here, trying to build up money for the historical break. And they put in like 10-hour days a day trying to do that, so I'd like to compliment them for their hard work. They do. And on that, I'm just gonna piggyback on what I agree.
I want to thank Bill and Matt for the time they've served on the council, because tomorrow's the deadline, and I don't think they've entered the race, so it's official that they probably won't be back, but we really appreciate the time we've served with you guys. We've had a lot of learning curves, and we've had a lot that we've been through together. And I can't say they're all good memories, but as a team, I think we have a good rapport with each other, so appreciate that.
Well, they went through some really tough times
Before I was around.
with the water system and everything, so, yeah, kudos, guys.
I also want to give condolences to the water police and fire. Not anything anybody wants to go through, so they're in our thoughts and prayers. And just wrap it up.
And with my dad, I appreciate all the people coming in to try to save this truck. That's, that is very important. I remember I was up there, I left, this was fire department, and I was up there, I grabbed a sandwich in McDonald's, you couldn't get here, get part. Lines clear around, I mean, that's how much business it brings in the community. Dollar store, you couldn't even Mine, that's been going back.
They're gonna need a big space.
There's a lot of money involved. It's not more people relevance.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.